Good evening. We start with some transformation news this hour. The asset management industry has made progress in black ownership, and that's according to Financial Services Group 274's first DEI Index Framework. 7 out of 10 firms have over 51% black ownership. However, only 18% of companies have over 51% women ownership, revealing a gender gap in the industry. Now, the index was launched at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange on Wednesday and is a benchmark framework to measure diversity, equity, and inclusion in the sector. And to drive industry transformation, asset managers are assessed across 5 key dimensions. That's ownership, representation, equity, impact, and governance. And we are now joined on the line by the firm's portfolio manager, Akona Mlamlele, for more. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Akona. Now, congratulations, first of all, on the launch of that index. Talk us through those findings. We are seeing transformation ticking up, but still a gender gap showing up there.
Thank you very much for having me, and I hope you can hear me clearly. So 274 first launched its survey in 2009. And the survey that we have been compiling for the past 15 years has been tracking the pace of transformation, particularly in the asset management industry in South Africa. So just trying to raise important awareness in terms of representation of Black people, of women in asset management in South Africa, but also this particular survey that we have done for the last 15 to 16 years has been quite a reliable source of data in measuring the pace of and the state of transformation, particularly in the South African asset management industry. So this year was actually the first diversity, equity, and inclusion survey where we did broaden out the survey to include transformed and non-transformed asset managers in South Africa. So we could just track in terms of how is the gender parity taking place, particularly within the South African asset management industry. So we had about 93 asset managers in the South African landscape that participated in the survey this year. And we launched the 274 DEI Index Framework, which provides a comprehensive approach to measuring DEI in South Africa's asset management industry in order to assess across the 5 dimensions that you did mention earlier on, but maybe just touching on one of them, ownership. So this criteria just ensures that historically or marginalized groups have a meaningful and economic impact and stake within the sector that they work in, but also representation also being one of the dimensions that we did measure, that highlighting in terms of focus on just the leadership and diversity criteria and evaluating the presence of Black women and women within key roles, including C-suite, board of directors, and within their respective investment professional sector firms.
Now, Akona, just digging into those dimensions, what are some of the bottlenecks in getting more women in leadership roles at asset managers? And while we find that 7 out of those 10 asset managers have, Black ownership, where are we still lacking when we look at those 5 metrics?
Yeah, so I think in conducting our research in the last 15 to 16 years, we have slowly made progress, particularly in the Black ownership, in transforming of firms, with about, of the 93 participants that did participate, 74% of those being Black asset management firms in terms of having level 1 BEE ratings. However, 18% of firms only have 51% women ownership, which does just indicate that the gender parity and the gender gap continues to be a challenge, particularly not only in transformed asset managers firms, but across asset managers within the South African landscape. So in just delving down in terms of the investment professionals. So in conducting our survey, we have seen the investment analyst progression in terms of not only Black investment professionals, but women investment professionals slightly tick up. However, when these women are meant to go to the next level, which is being a portfolio management portfolio manager rather, unfortunately, that number is quite dismal, where we do see a single digit of portfolio managers being not only Black, but also women portfolio managers in the industry. Unfortunately, that number coming out very small. So there is a long way that we need to go, particularly in providing diversity, equity, inclusion, not only within the firms, but also within their investment teams and investment boards that we currently see at some of the asset managers in South Africa.
Akona, before I let you go, I'm glad that you mentioned portfolio managers, investment analysts. Perhaps just give our viewers an understanding of what an asset manager is and why it is so important for us to really drive transformation in that space.
Yeah, so maybe just talking about just plain and simple. As some of us in South Africa are working on a monthly basis, we contribute to a pension fund or retirement fund, and with the most recent news of Two-Pot, for example. The asset managers in South Africa currently manage those savings and investments, the ones that a lot of South Africans, when they retire, should be able to take out and live particularly comfortable going forward. So these individuals and these investment professionals that manage your money, they're the ones who are buying and making the sell side decisions in terms of if they should buy ShopRite, if they should buy Pick and Pay, in making those key investment decisions. However, when making those key investment decisions, unfortunately, those individuals have been more tilted, or there's been a bias towards male. And predominantly what we've seen over the last few years of conducting the survey, there has been a bias towards Black males. But we have seen some inroads, but not as fast as we would like to go. However, we are encouraged by the investment analysts that are coming out through the ranks, and we do hope that the companies' cultures and infrastructures do enable these women, when they do reach these positions of being a portfolio manager, that they do stay and also bring up other women, particularly within the sector.
And I suppose it would boost South Africans' confidence when it comes to investing their funds and trying to protect, their financial freedom. Akona, thank you so much for talking to us. Of course, Akona Mamlele, portfolio manager at 274, just talking us through transformation in the asset management space.